And the word that always creeps up for me in this type of context of exploration is pervasive. And when I was studying social work and impact, it's like you might not think that doing this over here will be pervasive over here, but all the learnings, it is pervasive in all domains of your life. So, doing art or sound or meditation, it will creep into other dimensions. And so that's kind of, for me, being conscious of that process is important.
That's a fantastic word. It actually reminds me of another little bit of texturing that I've been doing to do with thinking about how to run the individual sessions in the evening. Because you two have seen me do a sort of 4-hour session with a sort of a 2-hour slot in the afternoon with about 6-7 people, going through each person 10 minutes each with a bit of feedback from the group, and you get through half a dozen people in 2 hours. And I'm hoping we're going to have more than half a dozen people, very much about what you just said about pervasive, and as a way into looking at, and now it looks a little bit graphic, or like a spreadsheet at the moment, but just look at this for a moment and tell me what you think, because it's still being developed, really. So here we have the ideal 12 people. Here are their names, and here are the 12 roles, and you can run this sequence, 3 groups of 4 people each, on a 15-minute basis. Each person as a soloist, 1-to-1 with Jenny, 15 minutes over one afternoon or one evening. So that's 3 hours. So you've got 12 people, 15 minutes each. That is 3 hours exactly. Or you can run it over 2 evenings and give each soloist half an hour each. So then you only do half the roles on one evening and the other half of the roles on the other evening. So I think it's a rather good beginning of a way. Now, obviously you've seen me work 1-to-1, you two, and Heather and Kathy. That is definitely a big part of my work, is doing 1-to-1 coaching. That is definitely 50% of the work. But look at all these other roles that I've discovered. Active supporter, there are 3 active supporters, and the active supporters are on stage, as it were, with the soloist. So there's one group of 4 people who are live and moving and vocalizing, 3 of them in support of the one. So if the one says, can you give me some rhythm, or can you give me a drone, or can you hold my back, or we don't know exactly what they're going to be doing, but they are there to support the soloist and begin in a way to start imagining themselves in my role, but up on the stage, as it were. I call it the stage, but you know what I mean, the workspace. So you have that's group 1, that's the yellows. Group 2 is a group that's watching, but they're watching in different contexts. So one of them will be witnessing all levels and present to the whole. So you're in role 2, you're witnessing all levels, present to the whole, you're quiet, you're just in that meditative space. Or if you're in role 4, which is part of group 2, you keep an eye on the time, absolutely vital. Or you're a caretaker, you're tending the whole space. Is it too hot? Do we need some more air? Is there washing up to be done? And then, or you're the registrar, which just means who's next, somebody has the computer and it just kind of tells the person who's doing the next bit, in terms of roles. And then there's group 3, which is also a quiet group watching the space, but you are either the deep listener, so it's slightly different from witnessing all levels. You're just working with listening, just listening, meditation on listening. Or you're in apprentice leader mode. What would I do? Or you're in apprentice artist mode. Who am I as an artist now? Or you're the soloist buddy. You're just completely present to them, tuning into them on every level. Now, each role you play either for 15 minutes or for 30 minutes, depending whether we're going through it over one evening of 3 hours or 2 evenings over 6 hours. And all of those roles, it occurs to me, are pervasive of each other. And how can I put this? I do all of them all the time at once. So I've divided myself into 12. I'm active supporter, soloist, buddy, apprentice artist, leader, registrar, caretaker, kind leader. You know, that's the complexity of what's going on in my head when I'm running the session, kind of split into 12 different roles so that you can practice each one for 15 minutes or half an hour at a time. What do you reckon?
I think based on what you're saying, this is brilliant.
I think it could be a way to include everybody all the
Mm.
time during the individual work and give everybody a taste of multiple roles.
Yeah.
That was kind of the idea.
I think now that you say it, because it is the first time, maybe it might be worth doing the 15-15 and then half an hour. That sounds like a good kind of introductory kind of testing trial.
You know, what I was actually thinking was we did 1:15 on the Monday and then do the Wednesday and Thursday with the half an hours and then go back on Wednesday and Friday and then go back on the Sunday to another 15. So, you know, that would be like bookending with 15s and then the half an hour in the middle. So that's another structure you could use, which came to me as a kind of give everybody a taste, then do a deep dive and then come back for an aha moment at the end.
When you're in the soloist role, 10 minutes doesn't sound very long, but it can feel like a very long time. And I think all those, well, not all of them, I'm being timekeepers, not very demanding, is it? But things, you know, deep listening and so on, I think they are things that take practice, and that it might be hard to hold initially for any length of time. I think things like that, just like meditating, take practice to develop being able to be in that place for a length of time. And it would be better to have a shorter time and feel that it'd been successful than to have a longer space initially where your mind's not on the job, basically, or you're, you know.
Yeah, I think it's possibly a bit much just to start straight off with the half an hour.
Yeah.
But this is also something I thought about. After you've done your soloist, you go into role 2, where you go completely to the opposite end, which is witness the whole. Then you get a deep listen, and then you get a time. So you actually, once you've done your soloist, you're actually sort of really returning to source for these two, and then just very practical. And so you get 5 roles, which is like, I don't know, an hour and 15 minutes, where you're just back in yourself, really, with yourself. And then you jump back out again for role 7 in your consciousness to what would I do, you know. So you get recovery time after soloist in these other layers of yourself, which are not stressful while you can process what's happened. So you've got that period, and then role 7, you start to kind of look more critically at what I'm doing and think about yourself as well and what you do, and then it gets more active in the second half. So you just run round that cycle. Let me come out of here now.